What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is something which someone suggested, and I believe this is like kind of like a few part series.
Okay.
Because I was sent a couple of them and I clicked 2, and this one says the first day in the description. The other one is a later date, but it says day 1 in the title as well. So I was a little bit confused. This is Desert Storm, the Air War, day 1 animated. I think the next one was the Ground War, day 1. So I think it's going through the stages.
Yeah.
If there was one before this, please let us know in the comments and we can go back and watch it. But I think this is the first one. Apparently it's really good. We got suggested this after we did the Grunts in the Sky, which that was intense, wasn't it?
It was.
But it showed how much like the A10 Warthog was important and stuff like that. And then this one got suggested to us as a little kind of like documentary, animated documentary. Yeah. So smash the like button, guys. Smash the subscribe button as well. We'd seriously appreciate it. Are you ready to check it out?
I'm ready.
We like this kind of videos and military ones, kind of very realistic. It kind of hits a little bit as well, different.
Yeah.
Especially if this is actually a real life kind of Desert Storm thing. Desert Storm rings a bell.
I feel like it does, but I'm not sure where from.
I'm not sure where from either, but we'll find out. So smash the like button. The more you guys subscribe, the more you guys like this video, the more it gets pushed out, and the more people see it, and the more it helps us as well. We got Patreon. We'd really appreciate if you check that out as well. And are you ready to check out Desert Storm, the Air War?
I am.
Let's go. What we got?
Seven B-52s take off from Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana. In 35 hours' time, when they return, a war will have started, and they will have set a new record for the longest bombing raid in history.
Wow.
So they're
A
starting
year prior, in 1990, high levels of oil production in the state of Kuwait and other Arab nations are depressing global oil prices. Because of its economic dependency on oil revenue, neighbouring Iraq is struggling to pay $14 billion debts on loans used to finance its war with Iran in the 1980s.
14 billion.
It has come to the point where Iraq is now even struggling to pay for basic government spending. Dating from the fall of the Ottoman Empire after World War I, Iraq has maintained sovereign claims over Kuwait.
Okay.
An accusation that Kuwait is slant drilling Iraqi oil fields gives Iraqi President Saddam Hussein an excuse to invade and annex the small nation on the 2nd of August 1990.
Oh.
Wow.
Following international...
We won't pause too much, but didn't we do a reaction not long ago? And it spoke about this very briefly.
I feel like this is ringing a bell.
About Iraq invading Kuwait for the oil and stuff like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I feel like I'm remembering this.
And then that came in, didn't it? So that's probably where we heard Desert Storm a little bit. Because we've been hinted recently about it, but we actually don't know anything about it. No. So it's going to be interesting. I'm keen.
Condemnation and sanctions, British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher and US President George H.W. Bush begin to deploy forces to Saudi Arabia, urging other countries to do the same. A UN resolution passes, giving Iraq a deadline of the 15th of January 1991 to completely withdraw from Kuwait. The build-up of coalition forces in Saudi Arabia is called Operation Desert Shield. Over a period of 6 months, 35 nations send a total of approximately 1 million military personnel to Saudi Arabia, the largest military alliance since World War II.
35 nations.
2,230 coalition aircraft are sent to bases in Saudi Arabia, and 6 carrier battle groups are deployed in the region.
Okay.
The coalition war plan is first to wage an air war to achieve dominance of the skies above Iraq, and to strike targets to degrade the Iraqi military for when the ground invasion is launched some weeks later. The first day of the air assault will be the most risky. Iraq has a very dangerous arsenal of air defense systems. 154 SAM sites with 16,000 missiles defend Iraq,
16,000?
Alongside a further 972 anti-aircraft artillery guns, 2,404 fixed AA guns, and 6,100 mobile AA guns.
I didn't know we had that much.
Wow.
Baghdad is likely the most heavily defended city in the world. 478 early warning radars watch the skies for coalition aircraft, with command and control centres ready to scramble the Iraqi Air Force's 550 combat aircraft to respond. The priority for day 1 of the air campaign will be to degrade the enemy's air defence systems. The deadline passes, and a day later the Great Air Assault on Iraq is put into motion. H-hour.
35 nations are against you.
It just doesn't sound good, does it?
And you're right going, yeah, nah, we won't pull out.
Doesn't sound great.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster, doesn't it?
It doesn't. Yeah, don't sound very pleasing.
They seem like they're quite packing though, Iraq, which I didn't know.
Yeah,
prepared,
but
but
35 nations.
The US is one of them as well. Maybe they haven't been a superpower yet, but
yeah, but I feel like they're pretty on top.
yeah, it seems like a mad decision, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just seems like you're gonna lose.
Please give us more like context in the comments, like how powerful was Iraq? Did they think they could easily win this?
Yeah.
I would appreciate it.
The start of the air war is scheduled for 2:38 a.m. on the 17th of January.
That's very specific.
2 hours before H hour, the B-52s are nearing the end of their long journey from Louisiana, and an enormous armada of aircraft is taking off all over Saudi Arabia and from carriers in the Red Sea and the Arabian Gulf.
Oh, they're getting
2
ready.
flights of helicopters, each with a single payload special operations helicopter
That's not a normal
and
helicopter.
4 Apache attack helicopters, cross the border at low level.
They're beasts.
Their call sign is Task Force Normandy. Their job is to sneak up on and shoot up 2 key enemy radar positions. This will cut a vital gap in the radar coverage through which the coalition strike aircraft can stream into Iraq to hit their targets.
Okay.
E-2 and E-3 airborne warning and control aircraft, referred to as AWACS, are orbiting near the border, directing operations and keeping an eye on Iraqi airspace.
Yeah, they do the raiders, don't they?
Air-to-air
Radars.
refueling tankers are now refueling the aircraft of the enormous First Striking Force over Saudi Arabia. For the last few months, large formations of coalition aircraft have massed every night near the border, so as not to cause a specific alarm in the enemy command structure when the air war does start.
Okay.
What Iraqi radars can't see tonight is the further formations of aircraft massing further away from the border at low level.
It's mad, isn't it?
F-117 stealth aircraft have also crossed the border unescorted and head for Baghdad. It's unclear whether their stealth technology will be potent enough to cloak them from the massive fire control radars around the heavily defended city.
Okay.
They are to hit key communications infrastructure in the city, hindering central military commanders' ability to coordinate their air defense sites around the country. One of the main targets is the International Communications Center in central Baghdad, through which 50% of all military comms traffic is routed.
Okay. Oh, this is intense.
These vital strikes are needed to protect the main assault aircraft when they attack in the coming hours. In the end, the stealth bombers circle Baghdad undetected, waiting for H hour.
Oh, they've done the job then.
A few minutes before H hour, the US Air Force fires the first shots of the war, launching 35 AGM-86 cruise missiles from the Barksdale B-52s at communication sites and power plants. Simultaneously, coalition naval battle groups begin launching Tomahawk cruise missiles at mainly communications targets in Baghdad.
Okay.
2 of the ships launching Tomahawks, the USS Missouri and Wisconsin, are battleships that first saw service in World War II, and will serve their country once more. The Tomahawks will navigate to their targets using an onboard system that identifies and follows known landmarks and terrain contours on the route to the target.
Okay.
Because much of the direct route to Baghdad from the Persian Gulf is flat desert, the cruise missiles must follow a longer easterly route over more hilly, trackable terrain near the Iranian border.
It's mad though that they managed to get so many planes in the territory hidden. Iraq have got no clue. You know what I mean? They've got all them planes behind enemy lines. They've got all this coming in, and until that first one shot, they've got no clue.
No, it's bizarre.
It's mad to think with technology wasn't as good then, but still pretty good.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can just completely hide that with stealth.
It's crazy.
Mental. And they're getting shot from a long way away from missiles.
They are.
A long way away.
Missiles fly at subsonic speed, so while these are the first shots to be fired, the US Army would have the honour of the first shots to explode.
Okay.
The 2 groups of Apaches arrive near 2 radar sites 30 seconds early, and come to hover in lines of 4 abreast. As they wait for precisely 2:38 am, they watch the compound through their infrared cameras. At first, it appears that the Iraqis are oblivious to their presence, but with 10 seconds to go, the compound's lights go out, and figures are observed running around outside.
They've realised.
At 2:38 am,
so
H hour,
scary.
Desert Storm begins. The Apaches unleash a furious rain of destruction on the radar installations.
Wow.
Hellfire missiles are first aimed at power generators. Further Hellfires and 70mm rockets are fired on radar dishes, command vehicles, and communications antennas as the attack helicopters move in closer.
Surprised they had the nerve to
They
wait the
expend
30
everything
seconds.
they have on the
Yeah.
site. Such is the importance to knock out the radar, the Apache crews then move in closer still and engage whatever is left standing with 30mm cannon. An enormous explosion ends the attack when an ammunitions dump is hit by cannon fire.
Wow.
During the 4 minutes of destruction, 27
4
Hellfires,
minutes?
100 rockets,
That's a long
and
time.
4,000
like,
cannon
in,
rounds
in
have
war.
Well, that's what I mean, like, just constant
Yeah.
destruction, shooting.
Yeah.
That is brutal, isn't it?
been unleashed on the sites. The crews report in total destruction of the 2 sites for no loss. They turn back to the border. The first aircraft of the first strike wave screams overhead. The air war is underway.
I bet Iraq are aware
3
now.
EF-111 radar jamming aircraft rush towards Baghdad to provide jamming support for the F-117s in case they are detected.
Oh.
With coalition aircraft streaming into Iraq, it's crucial that the stealth bombers knock out comms infrastructure. To maintain
still
stealth,
there, like,
the
what?
F-117s are unable to use their radios to report on progress. Commanders at the Coalition Tactical Air Control Center, the TAC, won't know if the crucial task has been successfully completed
Ooh.
until the aircraft are near the Saudi border on their return journey.
Right.
They're just
The
hoping
strike
they aren't
aircraft
they?
will be
Yeah.
deep inside Iraq by then. But this is the first major war to take place during the new age of communications and international live television. Believing the imminent start of the new conflict after the UN deadline passing, live news channels have sent reporters into Baghdad. At the TAC, they spot that a reporter is live on CNN, reporting hearing aircraft over the city. The news streams almost definitely route through the International Communications Center,
Okay.
a primary target for the F-117s.
Yeah.
CNN is put up on the large screens in the TAC. At 0300, the precise moment the first bomb should be falling on target, CNN lose the live feed from their reporter on the ground.
I never know they've
A
hit
cheer
it.
erupts at the TAC. The first F-117 strikes stir the hornet's nest, and 2,000 anti-aircraft guns in Baghdad open fire into the night sky.
Wow.
Stealth can protect
tell
the
you what, though,
aircraft
as
from
well.
radar guidance.
I know you're meant to have. I'm pretty sure you're meant to like journalists and not meant to be shot at and stuff like
Yeah.
that. 'Cause they're all-
They're just in the job, yeah.
I would not want to be someone from a country which are potentially attacking you
Mhm.
in that country reporting.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
don't
I'd be like,
wanna do it.
oh,
No,
I
don't
would
wanna do it.
not want to be part of that.
Guided missiles, but blindly fired anti-aircraft fire in such volume will be equally deadly if a lucky direct hit is scored. They drop 17 paveway guided bombs on 13 targets, radio towers, command bunkers, and a palace just outside the city, incorrectly believed to have been housing Saddam Hussein himself.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Shortly after, the first of 116 Navy-launched Tomahawks begin to fall on
116?
Baghdad, hitting party headquarters, a Scud ballistic missile factory, another presidential palace, and other targets of importance.
That's crazy.
Just
A
Stood
British
no
journalist
chance.
watches from his Baghdad hotel window as a Tomahawk screams past him at eye level down the street and hits the Ministry of Defence building at the end of it. Some
Wow.
Tomahawks carry special warheads which contain long strips of carbon filament. These missiles fly over power transformers and switching stations and release these strips into them, causing the electrical components to spark, short out, and burst into flames.
Technology
5
is mad.
electrical
Yes.
facilities are hit. The B-52 launched cruise missiles fall on further communication sites and power generation facilities, including the Al Musayib Thanal power plant. After a grueling flight across the Atlantic and Mediterranean to get here, the B-52s will now fly back to Louisiana without landing. The
a long
14,000-mile
day. Wow.
mission takes 35 hours, requiring 57 tanker sorties, a demonstration of American global reach.
Wow.
With Iraqi command and control seriously
That's
degraded,
mad.
the 668-strong first wave of strike aircraft with fighter escort begin hitting military targets across Iraq.
Still so many
SAM
planes.
sites, Scud missile sites, command and control bunkers, and airfields. RAF Tornado and US Navy F-14 interceptor aircraft patrol the Iraqi border and orbit Iraqi Air Force bases waiting for the enemy fighters to come out to fight. One formation, a strike package of F-15E Strike Eagles, escorted by F-15C fighters
Just
and
more
an
beasts.
EF-111
Yeah.
radar jamming aircraft, hit Scud missile launch sites in the western desert, attempting to prevent Scud launches against nearby Israel.
Okay.
With the alarm now raised, the Iraqi Air Force is in the air defending their nation, setting up combat air patrols near key installations. With the strikes against the launchers underway, an F-15 detects a single Iraqi Mirage fighter nearby and destroys it with a Sparrow missile. Another Mirage moves in close behind the low-flying EF-111 and fires a missile. The 111 makes a violent turn and evades. At this point, an F-15 above spots the hostile aircraft and dives in to engage. Spotting the attacking Eagle, the Mirage itself makes a violent maneuver to evade the American fighter, but in doing so crashes into the ground.
Oh.
The unarmed EF-111 pilot is credited with a maneuvering kill. Another F-15C Eagle has just crossed the border into Iraq, and the pilot detects a distant, unidentified contact on his radar.
Okay.
Rules of engagement require the pilot to ask one of the E-3 command and control aircraft for permission to fire. The contact begins to maneuver aggressively, and the E-3 grants permission to fire. The long-range Sparrow missile flies into the distance, and the pilot sees the fireball as it detonates. The enemy aircraft downed is a modern and dangerous MiG-29 Fulcrum, piloted by a veteran of the Iran-Iraq War with three...
I mean, obviously it's sad because it is the other side as well,
Yeah.
but unfortunately that is war, isn't it? It's so sad, isn't it?
It is.
And hopefully we don't have any more. But I don't think Iraq has ever stood a chance.
From day one, I don't think they
Like,
did.
I didn't think it was stood a chance anyway, but the coordination it must have taken for this.
Everything's on point.
On point, and like you said, so many planes. So you're behind, and then you're trying to get up, but you've got all these planes already in there.
Not looking good.
You got no chance because they all seem to be on their own, don't
Yeah.
they? These planes, like there's an odd one there, here and there. You got no chance.
kills
And they
on
must
his
have been
record.
prepared for something like this.
There must
A
be.
flight of F-4G Wild Weasel aircraft are some of the many aircraft on their way to Baghdad to attack radar sites and SAM sites. Because of the volume of coalition assets in the area, the escorting F-15s are constantly investigating potentially hostile contacts that turn out to be friendly. After a few false alarms, Captain Steve Tate finally finds an enemy Mirage. He engages with a Sparrow missile, and the fireball confirms the kill.
Just
Multiple flights of
destruction.
aircraft are inbound to Baghdad to attack SAM and radar sites. Given the heavy air defences around the city, this could be a treacherous task.
Okay.
Yeah.
The US Navy aircraft make their first major play of the night. A-6 intruders to the west launch decoy glider drones towards the city, intended to trick the defending SAM sites into switching on their radars. It works, and many surface-to-air missiles are launched against them.
Oh,
The
wasted. them.
Iraqis believe they've scored multiple kills. What they don't see are the US Navy FA-18 Hornets armed with high-speed anti-radar missiles,
Unlucky.
HARMs, coming in behind. The HARMs lock onto the radar signals coming from the SAM sites on the ground as they engage the drones.
There's so many planes.
A further 37 BQM-74 jet-powered drones approach from the south and orbit the city. Some are shot down by MiGs, but the rest are tracked and engaged by the SAM sites on the ground.
Okay.
And
The
these just
F-4s
come in
and
and destroy.
FA-18s
Wow.
move in and launch 75 HARMs, destroying approximately 35 installations.
Wow.
The idea of offering bait drone aircraft to the air defences for the Wild Weasels to engage is that of Brigadier General Larry Pubar Henry.
Good idea.
The engagement during Desert Storm becomes known as Pubar's Party. Another flight of 4 FA-18s are approaching the large airbase H-3 in western Iraq with an E-2 Hawkeye carrier-launched early warning aircraft above.
Okay.
A pair of MiG-29s move to engage the Hornets, but F-15s dive in and easily add 2 more kills to their impressive and growing tally.
Yeah, there's standing no
With
chance
30
of
miles
it.
to go, the E-2 calls out 2 elderly MiG-21s aggressively attacking head-on. The Hornets are impressive multi-role aircraft. Lieutenant Commander Fox switches from ground attack to air-to-air mode with the flick of a switch. He locks onto one MiG, while his wingman locks onto the other.
Okay.
Fox fires a Sidewinder missile, and his wingman fires a Sparrow. Both hit. Both pilots calmly
They've had
switch their
literally no
aircraft
issues so
back to
far.
ground attack mode, and almost without breaking step complete their bombing raid on the airfield.
Wow.
A powerful demonstration of the efficiency of multi-role aircraft in modern
Yeah.
warfare.
So efficient.
Further B-52s and F-111s drop conventional bombs
Just
on
look
the
at
elite.
that. Like, he's like, yeah, we've done our job out there. And as they're away, the next one, like, yeah, we've got our job
I
to
know,
do now.
I know.
Perfect timing. Even from, like, the helicopter that start waiting 30 seconds. It just shows how good. I suppose it can translate to anything in life as well. If you've got a good game plan,
Yeah.
it can go so efficiently.
Yeah.
And in war, it's so important, isn't it? You can see.
Iraqi Army Corps, the Republican Guard, to soften them up and as a show of the military power that they're up against. It's claimed that fear of the B-52's conventional bombing capability caused mass Iraqi surrenders later on in the war. A B-52 is hit by a US missile in a friendly fire incident and crashes on the way home. The air assault is going nearly perfectly at this point, but the TAC planners know that statistically their luck must change.
Like I say,
And
it's
it
too
does.
efficient.
Yeah.
A squadron of FA-18s from the USS Saratoga, known as the Sunliners, are on their way to take part in Pubar's party,
Okay.
when the leader detects a MiG-25 interceptor in front of them. He requests permission from the AWACS to engage, but the AWACS radar can't find the bandit, and so permission is denied. There are hundreds of coalition aircraft
First
in the air,
mistake.
so rules of engagement
Not
are
good.
tight to reduce friendly fire. The MiG slips away, but later shoots down another Hornet in the squadron, killing Lieutenant Commander Michael Speicher. Dawn breaks in the desert, and further waves move in. The British Tornadoes have perhaps the most dangerous job of the first 24 hours.
Okay.
12 aircraft scream over the desert at just 200 feet towards Talil Air
200
Base.
feet.
The RAF's two-seater Tornado GR-1 is a specialist in runway busting. In the first day of a hypothetical hot war with the Soviet Union, Tornadoes would maraud over the border into Eastern Europe to neutralise enemy airfields.
Show of
Okay.
power.
Today they carry their specialist weapon, the JP-233, a system that drops a combination of 30 runway cratering bomblets on the runway and 215 anti-personnel mines to hinder the repair process
215?
after. Anti-aircraft fire is much heavier than expected, as they line up on the two parallel runways at
They're
180
prepared at this
feet.
point, aren't they?
Pushing through the barrage, each aircraft releases its two JP-233 dispensers. The runways are shredded, and the anti-personnel mines are scattered across both runways and across the airfield, waiting to punish any repair workers who attempt to make the runways operational again.
Yeah, we've got
Wow.
no chance.
All
But
aircraft
it's quite
make it
interesting,
out.
isn't it?
But-
I didn't know that was a thing.
No,
I don't know about
I
you.
didn't.
The fact that they're dropping bombs and then they're dropping mines, which I'm surprised they're not
Yeah.
exploding on impact. So then if you accidentally step on it, I'm guessing you'll get in the vicinity. It goes up.
Yeah.
So you can't even get out there to repair what has been damaged because
No.
it's dangerous.
It's yeah.
How, like, that must be quite common, but I didn't know it was a thing
I didn't
from
know it was a
planes
thing.
dropping them, you know?
Yeah.
But the crew report that the flak was heavier than forecast, and that they were in fact very lucky to make it back undamaged. A short time later, in the southeast of Iraq, another wing of 4 Tornadoes approach our Ramallah airbase at low level, each this time with 8 conventional 1,000-pound bombs. Just before the target, the aircraft will pull up into a climb and release their bombs,
Okay.
thereby throwing the bombs in an arc at the target. The downward momentum when they hit allows the bombs to penetrate into the ground before exploding, maximising damage. Because the bombs are released at range, a target computer calculates the precise release moment during the climb.
Okay.
Flight Lieutenants
can't
John
guess that,
Peters,
can you?
the pilot, and John Nichol, the navigator, begin their attack run. Voracious flak opens up on them, and their aircraft is physically buffeted by the nearby explosions.
Not good.
They begin their climb. There's a problem. They have some kind of fault in their targeting computer, and it's not releasing their bombs. They continue to climb as they try to quickly rectify the problem. They're now almost twice the height they should be, and very vulnerable. Peters aborts and rolls the aircraft nearly upside down to bank and dive away.
Wow.
Descending
Good
in
job they got
acceleration, they make
Yeah.
for safety, but just after they level out, they're hit by a shoulder-launched SAM. Both men eject, but are captured by the Iraqis, suffering severe maltreatment. The airstrikes continue without rest throughout the day, against military and communications installations across the country. By day, A-10 Warthogs hit
Bad
radar
beasts.
sites along the
Yeah.
Iraqi border, similar to those that the Apaches had hit during the night. U-2 spy planes overfly Iraq to search for mobile Scud launchers. Special operations helicopters loiter near Baghdad to pick up
More
downed
coming in
aircrew.
as well.
Further coalition aircraft join the strikes from bases in Turkey. 12 French Jaguars attack the Scud missile facility at the Ahmed Al-Jaber Air Base in Kuwait,
Wow.
and 4 take heavy damage from flak. The coalition takes some further losses throughout the day, mostly from anti-aircraft fire on low-level missions. In the evening, 4 elderly A6 intruders are the latest to approach Airbase H3 with laser-guided bombs. They split into 2 pairs and attack from different directions at low level. One aircraft is hit by a SAM. The crew eject and are later captured. Another aircraft is hit, but makes it to Saudi Arabia.
Okay, they got away.
Over the first 24 hours of the air war, 2,775 sorties are conducted against strategic Iraqi targets.
So many in 24 hours.
The Iraqi Air Force flies just 120 sorties, losing 8 aircraft. Some of the Iraqi jets flee to their recent enemy Iran. 19 coalition aircraft are lost or damaged in day 1. Saddam Hussein declares that the mother of all battles has begun. The air assault continues for 5 weeks, pounding the Iraqi military at a rate of 2,500 bombing sorties per day.
Wow.
Largely, the Iraqi Air Force, the 4th largest air force in the world, doesn't come out in full force to fight, and therefore the dangerous low-level attacks on airfields are reduced in favour of hitting mobile Scud launchers.
Okay.
39 coalition aircraft are lost in combat during the air campaign,
Wow.
with another 36 lost in accidents. Gradually, attacks are shifted towards degrading the Iraqi military itself. The ground invasion of Iraq to liberate Kuwait will begin on the 24th of February.
Which that was definitely the date on the next one, which is there, a 17-minute
Right.
one. Oh my, that was such a good video, by the way.
I wasn't expecting so much detail, but it was good. I
Yeah,
didn't know all that.
definitely. I mean, we're going to subscribe, so make sure you subscribed here. Go and check the operations room out as well. That was very detailed, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was.
Intense. Again, it just shows the dangers
Yeah.
of war with so many lives lost, planes lost as well. And it must be super scary having to eject and then being caught by the
Yeah.
enemy. Please let us know context fully in the comments below, because I know, like we said, a little bit was hinted about the oil and stuff like that in Kuwait and stuff like that, which on a previous video. But if you guys could give us the context, that'll help, because we're not going to do that other one straight away, so we'll be able to see your comments because this is going out tonight.
Yeah, see it first.
Read your comments, get a bit more context before we go into that. But if the ground war's just as detailed, if the game plan's as intense,
Yeah.
I'm ready for it. Are you?
That was actually really interesting.
Very interesting. Again, huge respect to anyone who has served, because it just shows how dangerous it
Yeah.
is, and the amount of genius people it must have taken to perfectly instruct that, and how. Because I was thinking at the start with the helicopters, why is it that important to wait for 30 seconds? But there's so much going on. I feel like you need to be in time for it to work
Can't
perfect.
miss anything.
Yeah, 30 seconds early, something could trigger
Yeah.
something, and you miss it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments below, and what should we do?
Have a fantastic day.
And we will see you, legends, in the next one. Peace.